Now, speaking of Kaduna, where you stay, can you tell me a bit of how is the situation there in terms of child abuse, people that are you are targeting? What is the situation there in the state of Kaduna?
Okay, child abuse is the incidence of child abuse in Kaduna State is actually high. We have about four sexual assault referral centers here in Kaduna State, and we constantly get reports of children being abused by adults who are mostly people they know. So it's quite high here in Kaduna State, and children most times the barrier to teaching body safety is most parents don't even know what body safety is. Most parents don't have an idea of what body safety is. So how can they teach their children when they don't even know it exists and it's going to empower their children? Then for some other parents is religion. They feel when you teach their children this, you're like paving way for them to be abused. You're like encouraging them to do the bad things or you're spoiling them. One model in the body safety program is the use of correct names for your private parts. Most parents cannot pronounce names of their private parts. You hear them saying your PP, your bum bum, your this. They hardly pronounce the correct names of their private parts. Some don't even know. Some don't know the difference between vulva and vagina. Some don't even know the difference. And when you are teaching your child, if you don't know it, how can you teach your child? There's this woman that reached out to me one time. She was complaining her daughter was having pains around her vulvar region. And she said she didn't call it vulva, she called it bum bum. So imagine her calling a grown-up woman, an adult, calling her vulva bum bum. How then is the child supposed to learn this is actually my vulva or this is my vagina? So because of this fear, secrecy, and the fear, secrecy, it makes it harder because these parents feel when they teach their children these things, it just makes their children spoil. Meanwhile, it does the opposite. It actually arms their children against sexual abuse. So we are doing a lot of sensitization. We want parents to understand these things are actually good. These teachings are actually good for your children because it will protect them, not the other way around. So that is what we have been doing, sensitizing parents so that they understand these things are important. Their children need to be safe. And for their children need to be safe, they need to be armed. And how do they get armed? When we teach them body safety.
All right, thank you so much for that. And that is also an important question you are raising there, which is about even the question of sex education, because people are ashamed to call it sex. No, we need to talk about things. The thing is that first of all, for us to even address a problem, we need to call the problem by its name. What kind of problem are we really addressing? If we just use code to talk about it without really using the language of the people that the people can understand, then it becomes even more difficult this time. This is also what they do in terms of the law, or they write the constitution in a way that is too highly placed in the terminology they use. The way people break the law down because they don't know actually what you are saying, what you are talking about. Then they say, ignorance of the law. But the thing is that if you are writing a law for the people, write it in a language that they can understand. Except maybe you are writing it for the court or for the lawyers. But the lawyer are not the lawbreaker, they are just interpreters of the law. The person who you are writing this law for is the ordinary people. So write it in a language that they can understand. So I don't know why people are so, there should be too much secrecy around things that are everyday because these are regular day, everyday life. No, we shouldn't have too much secrecy about it. Because what usually happens, like you already said, though, is that these children, okay, there are multiples of things that the result, no? Some of them come home with pregnancy. Then what are you going to do? Are you going to abort the child now? Then that become even more complication, which you could have avoided
Yeah.
either with a better education of these children in terms of what it says and how should you comport yourself when you go around and start messing up with other people. See? So it's a very important conversation. All right. Now, I want to believe that some people don't even understand what is meant by body safety. Can you give us a small education of that?
So body safety is a set of teachings that aims to equip a person with the knowledge and skills to prevent sexual abuse. So it's a group of teaching or a set of teaching that aims to equip a person with skill, the knowledge and skills to prevent sexual abuse. There are different models in body safety. We encourage children to appreciate their bodies. We teach them their bodies are beautiful. We teach them they can decide what happens to their body. They have every right to decide what happens to their body. We teach them that any touch that makes them uncomfortable, it doesn't even have to be just on the private part. It can be any part of their body. They have every right to say no. They have every right to say stop it. Then they should also know that there should be no secret between them and their parents. They should also know that any threat from anybody, let's say somebody tried to touch your private parts, and of course they said, no, stop it. Don't ever do that again. And the person tries to threaten them, they know not to be afraid. They know that person is just saying that so that he or she would not report to their parents and so that the parents will not take action. So these are things we teach in body safety education. We teach every child that they are beautiful. We teach every child they are special. We teach them the correct names of their private parts. We teach them actions to take if they are in harmful situations. So that is what body safety education is all about. So body safety education helps the child to be confident, helps the child to speak out, helps the child to know what actions to take whenever they find themselves in difficult positions. It also helps the child know situations that could be harmful because we teach them all these things. At the end of the day, we also teach them that pedophiles or sexual predators could be anybody. It could even be a relative. It could even be a family member. It could be, sadly, a parent. So at the end of my teachings, I share the sexual assault referral center number with these children and I ask them to keep it. I do not pray that their parents are perpetrators of sexual abuse. We have seen instances, we have seen parents who molest their children. So we empower these children to even know what to do if a relative, including parents, are harming them or sexually abusing them, what they should do so that they won't be helpless as well if their parents are involved in this menace. So that is what body safety education is all about.